Today we're here to talk about Emergenetics, and this is one of my very favorite quotes by E. Jacob Taylor, that thinkers think and doers do, but until the doers think and the thinkers do, progress will be just another word in the already overburdened vocabulary of talkers who talk. So today we're going to talk about the thinkers and the doers and the talkers, and those of us who don't talk quite as much, and how we can work really well together so that our differences can actually bring us together as teams so that we create really innovative and effective and fabulous products instead of just having it butt our heads when we don't understand, why does that person do things that way? Why can't they just think like me? Right?
In my work, I focus on helping teams and organizations understand how their differences between one another can actually make them stronger instead of weaker. So how are generational differences, how are differences in our genders, how are differences in our personalities and our personality traits, like psychometric tools reveal with Myers-Briggs and Emergenetics. How those differences can actually build a really strong team instead of having it be a barrier to communication. And that really, in order to meet all of our clients' needs, we need to understand all of the differences that work together.
Because all of your brains are fabulous. All of your profiles are fabulous. And you all add something unique that makes us a really functional whole. So understand you are who you are, because it's going to happen. I'm going to give you your profiles back, and you're going to go, oh, kind of wish mine looked more like Bob's. I kind of wish mine looked more like Susan's. It's profile envy. Happens every time, right? It's really important that you value your uniqueness, and your profile is fabulous the way that it is. What we want to do is find out how you can work through those strengths to be the most effective contributor to your team. When people come into a workshop and they're kind of going, I can't believe I have to spend 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours here in this workshop. And by the end of it, they're going, I learned so much. And I can't tell you the number of times that on evaluations people write, I couldn't believe that I was going to have to take a day out of my work life to do this. I'm so busy, I can't possibly imagine that I had to do this, and I love it. I can't wait to take these tools back and put them to work in my teams. As I've mentioned, we have these 4 thinking attributes, and all of us have all 4 thinking attributes. We don't have all 4 thinking preferences. And I'm going to walk you through what each of these different attributes represent. And as we go through this, you're probably going to start to get a little bit of a feel for what your profile is going to look like. And that'll be a little bit of a validation for you as to the accuracy of the tool. So let's start with our analytical, our blue brains. Our analytical folks, they like data. They like research. They need to know that the speaker is credible. If I hadn't given you my biographical information and told you how much I've worked with Emergenetics and the fact that I've been doing this for years and the fact that I've put over 1,000 people through this workshop, you need to know that, because otherwise you're not going to listen to me. You're just going to tune me out if you have an analytical preference. You need to know that the person who is talking to you is credible in their topic. You need the background, you need the research, you need logic. You need things to have a purpose. When you go out to buy a car, Edmunds.com, consumerreports.org, you would not buy a major appliance or an automobile or anything of that magnitude without consulting these tools, and you think anybody who does is a little bit crazy. Spreadsheets are involved when you buy a house, right? Yeah, the people on the right, our right-brainers are like, really? You do a spreadsheet? Yeah. Analytical folks are going to do a spreadsheet about buying a house and weighing those pros and cons. They typically like math. They typically like working and exploring on how things work. And if you can give them homework ahead of time, that's fabulous, because they will do the pre-work, because they want to be prepared to ask their questions. If I had given this book out to each of you before you came to the workshop today, instead of giving it to you here, our different brain styles would access it differently, right? So I'm going to give you this book. The analytical brains are going to read it, because they want to come prepared. The structured brains are going to reference the table of contents, and they're going to look for the information that's most relevant to them. Our conceptual brains are going to kind of thumb through it and go, oh, look at this. This is really cool. It's got something that captures my interest. It's a little new. It's a little different. It's what have you. And the social brains are going to say, so, have you read the book? And could you tell me what parts of the book I should probably read? we react to this differently. And none of them is right and none of them is wrong. They're just different. And today is all about valuing our unique differences and being able to work together really effectively for innovative solutions. And so what I do is to get people to understand those differences and to start putting themselves into the brains of the other people and being able to work through their strengths to work with those people. Because you don't want to be looking back on your organization like the Chevy Nova, like the Electrolux vacuum, and going, I can't believe we used slogans and we tried to market our product and we didn't understand our clientele, so we spent millions and millions and millions of dollars because we weren't looking at the world through all of those lenses. So I work with people to get them to understand that it's okay to look at the world through your lens, you just have to have an appreciation for the lenses of others. We all have all four thinking attributes. We don't have all four thinking preferences. Some of us are going to prefer to spend a whole lot more time in our analytical thought than in our social. So we're going to talk about that as we talk about your individual profiles. The next section, each of those are represented again, analytical, structural, social, and conceptual, in percentile bars. How much energy do you put around that attribute? Because that's going to affect how that attribute shows itself. Is it something that really energizes you and you're like, oh, I get to balance my checkbook, yay! Or are you like, I have to balance my checkbook, right? Do you think, I get to go to a social event tonight and I get to meet a whole bunch of new and interesting people? Or do you think, oh, I have to go to a social event where I'm going to meet all these other people? And which of those do you get your energy from? Because if you can get that nailed and you can work from your strength, regardless of what you do, you're going to go home at the end of your day with a whole lot more energy. And the last section talks about our behaviors: expressiveness, assertiveness, and flexibility. How do we show ourselves to the world? And we're going to talk about these in terms of where the benefits and where the strengths are in each of them, because there is not a good or a bad. Okay? It is a matter of differentiation. It's a good thing that we're all different. I happen to live in Colorado, and I am the quintessential Coloradan. I have 2 dogs and a Subaru Outback. And if everybody thought exactly the same, I would really never find my Subaru Outback in a parking lot, because it is really hard enough in Denver at this point. It's a good thing that we all look at the world differently. So my keynotes will address Emergenetics and Myers-Briggs, those psychometric tools to understand our personality differences, emotional intelligence and how we affect those around us, as well as ethics and managing across generations.